So yeah, some may wonder why there is a French guy on the scene and if you have to call security. So before we go to this, I may just explain a bit who I am and why I'm here today. The thing is, my story is a bit linked to Apple because Apple is 50 years old, and I arrived on this planet just a few days later, so it's incredible. So I'm 25 years old twice. What about me? I began to be aware of the Mac in 1994. If you know these computers, which are LC3s, well, I'm sorry to tell you that you're very old now. Yeah, not that old, it's okay. I really became very fond of the Mac at this time and began to work a lot on the Mac. And I published my first website in 1998, which is quite old now. And I like to give information to people to help them with their Mac, because at this time, it was only the Mac as a product, such a long time ago. And if you want to see what I write, I wrote a book, some advice, which is 80 Shades of Option Key, because I'm really kind of an option key on the Mac. I use it a lot. I like to try to find stuff and tips, and you can find this on my website as well. So this day I like to tell that I'm an Apple consultant. I'm sorry, technical partner now, because that's what we're called now. But I prefer to call myself an Apple experience designer, which is a bit, yeah, I know, it sounds really French, yeah, in some way. It's true. This is the tagline for my website, which says "Créateur d'expérience Apple." Yeah, it's really French fashion, fashiony. But because I think that trying to provide a nice experience to Apple users, it's not just installing software. When you're working with Apple products and you're dealing with Apple products, especially on enterprise, you want the user experience to be as good as it is for a home user. Okay, you really want to have a nice integration and give the best experience for Apple users. So maybe you've heard about this. I don't know if you've seen this on Apple's website. Some of you did. Okay, yeah. Foncia is a French estate company, large company, very large company. And there is this on Apple's website because we went all Mac in 2020, from 0 to 10,000 Macs, and almost the same for iPhone and iPad. So it was really a huge project. I think they are Apple's first customer in France right now. And I worked with them to provide the Apple experience to their new users. So it was really a large project for me, and at a nice time, because you see the date, 2020. So what happened in 2020? We got COVID, and a few weeks later, a few months later, we got Apple Silicon, and you begin a project on Apple Intel Macs, and then it moves to Apple Silicon. Fun times. But Apple Silicon are great. I'm not here to really complain about this. What's interesting about me otherwise is that I'm a great fan of Nintendo. I play Super Mario. I play way too much Zelda. My favorite Final Fantasy is Final Fantasy VI. I like Star Wars. I like big robots which transforms, I play with plastic bricks sometimes. My favorite Avenger is Iron Man. And my override is a TARDIS, so definitely you can say that there is a nerd alert here. And I like Austin Powers too. Another thing about me is that I wrote a lot of books about the Mac and iPad and technologies. As you can see on the names of the books, well, they are from a long time ago. The good thing about these books is they're very thick, so this is the best use you can get of my books these days. Definitely. So if you want to know more about me, about the things I write, there is my GitHub. I will give a link later, of course. It's really easy, Guillaume Gète. Oh, I look so nice in this picture, incredible. One thing, so I wrote a lot of scripts, a lot of stuff, and user interfaces for things. And maybe you've heard about this. Don't know. Did some people here use this? Yeah? Oh, a few hands. Okay. Basically, it was a software I wrote a few years ago, which has one of the features was some of the nicest icons you could get on the Mac, which is not something you can say these days. Yeah, I know. Sorry for Alan Dye. So basically, this maker was GUI wrapper I wrote in AppleScript. I think Alexandra would have been scared if she had to look at my code. I mean, and so basically, it was a GUI wrapper for a command which is create install media, which was in the Apple app installers, macOS installers, and it allowed you to create a bootable installer for macOS on a USB key, okay, USB from drive. And I wanted to talk about this because the funny thing is that this software decided once to say, okay, it's working, a lot of people are using it, so I decided to make it a donationware. And donationware are cool because people can pay and send a donation according to what they want, and according to the use they have from the software. And it happened that one day I got a donation from this guy. I don't know if you can see the name. Yeah. So at first I thought, okay, good joke. I wrote and he said, no, I will pay for my software. I say, okay, I'm really humble. And I wanted to talk about this, not to brag about it. Okay, maybe I wanted to brag about it a bit. I mean, when I got the mail, I almost fell apart, it's incredible. And yeah, my head exploded, definitely. That was what I was like this. And the interesting thing about this is that if you think about it, Steve Wozniak is one of the geniuses of our time, so okay? I mean, he could have just taken the command line and put it in a terminal and create his own from drive without using third-party software, which is just a GUI wrapper, AppleScript, and not incredible stuff. But he did it. And I think it's interesting because if somebody like him decides to use the GUI, it also means something, is that easy user interaction still matters. It really matters. And this is why I wanted to talk about onboarding, because onboarding is really about creating a great experience for your user. So yeah, easy user interaction still matters. So let's be honest now. macOS onboarding sucks. Just switch to Windows. Yeah, I know, it's awful. In fact, it's George Terry who told me that, yeah, you were not able to put this slide on the screen. And yes, of course I would. Actually, I think that macOS onboarding can be an amazing experience, really. It can be amazing if you take the time if you dedicate some time to make it great, okay? But it won't be magical at first time, but you can make it really magical. And in fact, in my experience, people who come from PC and they move to the Mac, most of the time they think that the onboarding experience is way better on the Mac than it is on PC. So, what are the issues that you can have with onboarding? Some issues are like, it's a mix of HR, human resources, and IT processes. So you have to discuss with HR about how you manage your teams, how it will impact eventually onboarding of users, a lot of stuff to discuss with them. It's the first time a new user interacts with IT, basically. And it is your first date with the user. You will not want to be dressed up. It's okay, the day after we will know the truth, of course, but the first time you want it to be really, really nice. Also, it can take a lot of time. It's really annoying because, yeah, onboarding can take a lot of time. If you install a lot of software on the machines, it can be a painful process. And the worst thing is that enterprise software are the worst kind of software to deploy in enterprise, and I mean it in a big way. I mean, you have to install printer drivers, you have to install software in user sessions, which sometimes require a user session, and to have admin rights. Perfect. You've got printer drivers, you've got software which will require DMG to install, and with a PKG, and you have to repackage everything, and you've got printer drivers, and yeah, you know the drill. And you've got Fieri printer drivers. Oh, yeah. I know where it hurts, Yeah. They won't be, I think, a sponsor next year. Definitely not. So how can you make it magical? The first thing, of course, is to automate the hell out of it. You know what I mean? You have to automate a lot of stuff and make things as easy as it can be for the user. Of course, rely on an IDP and SSO and eventually PSSO. For me, PSSO is a great stuff from Apple. It improves a lot in macOS 26. It's still not there. Third parties are not there yet, too, most of them. So it would be nice. It would be nice when it would be complete, but for me, it's not ready yet, I guess. Guide the user only when needed. Of course, if you can automate something, just automate it. If you have to guide the user, well, do it, but do it in a proper way. And avoid, if possible, to give them 50 pages of documentation. Just to give you a sample, a few years ago, yeah, it was quite a long time ago, I worked with a French company, and when the user onboarded, they really had 30 pages of documentation to onboard the Mac. 4 pages only for the printer, or printer setup. And I said, okay, now I will make the printer setup to 0 page, and we did it. It wasn't a long process, it wasn't that difficult, but we could do it. And with the details, and you may think that, yeah, sometimes things are good enough, but people notice the small things. You know, the eye has a capacity to just focus on the wrong thing. Just think about a wall. You know, you've got something wrong on the wall. Even if the wall is perfect, you'll just see a little thing on the wall which is not right. And users do this every time. One issue I see sometimes in companies about computer naming might be trivial, but I'll give you an advice I've seen in many companies. Don't put the name of a user in the computer's name. Because sometimes, you know, people get married. And sometimes they get divorced. It happened. I know it. So, yeah, don't put the user's name into the computer name. Try to automate it and avoid also to use locations in the computer's name. And make it easy for you. Serial numbers, tags, whatever, but yeah, make it easy. Onboarding steps, for me, there are 3 different onboarding steps when you onboard a user. The first step, of course, is setup assistance. The first thing that users see, there is an enrollment process, automated device enrollment eventually, and of course, it's way better. And then there is the login window, and then there is a desktop. For the first step, I think it's good to have an all-purpose onboarding, which I mean that install all the software which will be the same for everyone if you can. Okay, don't try to install different stuff for Teams, whatever. No, make it easy. It has a nice impact because, in fact, it means that you can also prepare your machine on a workbench if necessary. You can have 10, 20, 30 machines prepared for users. You just give a machine to the user prepared. If you have some heavy software to install on it, this can be better. On the login window, I think there's almost no customization you can do unless you've got PSSO working or using tools like Time Connect or Xcred, maybe. And on the desktop side, well, we've got a step use user customization. So use default templates for the user. And I think it's nice to not always force the settings according to what you think is right for them. Sometimes it's just good to let them wander a bit. Talk about this a bit later. Of course, you need onboarding tools. Onboarding tools are mandatory to give feedback to a user about what happens. And you get great options on the Mac. Octory, Jam Setup Manager, which I'll talk in a few minutes. And you heard about it this morning, of course. And IBM notifiers and there are other options. So just try the option which fits you. But I know that Setup Manager for me was the best option because I could make it run in one afternoon with a very nice interface, very easy to set up. The best of you can get, I mean, you just have to install one package, one profile, it works perfect. So if you want to implement an onboarding tool, you have to think about the order of installation, of course. So think about how your software installed, and sometimes some software may influence on another software later, so think about it, just like if you install Extensis, font, case, whatever it's named now, because it changes every month. So Extensis font management software. Of course, you want to install it after you install Adobe Apps, because Adobe Apps will require the plugins, and if you don't have the software installed, it's not really the best way to do it. Cache the software if necessary. I had a case about this, about some printer software, of course. which would deploy and display a login interface as soon as you install it. So you don't want this, so I just cache the installer locally on the machine in the first step of setup assistant, and then I deploy in the user's session way easier. Provide sensible default settings. This one is tricky because sometimes we think about the best settings for us. These are not always the best settings for the user. And I think it's nice to not force the settings to the user, like the desktop picture, unless if your computer, of course, is displayed in public environments. Not always the best thing to do. And default dock, if you set up the dock, okay, put some apps, remove all the apps that the user may not need. But think about the fact that they may need different software than you do, and every user has his own preferences, so provide defaults, but let the user change them if they need. And make it fun. I mean, it's the best place to be, yeah, make it for something really nice. And now we got some demo time, yeah. It's not a real demo, in fact, it's just a video, so I can stay here. Because, yeah, there will be a real demo after. So, basically, you know the drill. Automated device environment, you start the Mac, yeah, okay. Installing applications, and I prepared dump setup manager on this machine. So this is what you see, and I was a bit into a mood of, yeah, classic, yeah, I had a bit of nostalgia, you know, because 50 years of Apple, all this stuff. And so I just designed a classic interface with the logo, my monkey, and we're just deploying software as fast as we can. Of course, it's not real time because it could take a little bit longer. And we do some timey wobbly stuff. I don't know. Yeah, Doctor Who fan, thank you. And so, very easy. And for the user, the process is nice. Nothing to do. Just prepare the machine. And if I had many machines to prepare, could you do the same? Okay, desktop, login, whatever. So not complicated. Download and install times can be tricky, because of course the user wants his machine to be prepared very fast, as efficiently as possible. So you may want to avoid to install large packages, and of course never install packages. If you use Jump Pro or the software, which can install software during onboarding, so during pre-stage, don't install large software. Don't think it's, oh, okay, I can install the whole Office package in pre-stage. Don't that, never. Avoid recurrent inventories. This one is one of my customers. They called me and they said, okay, we just have this Jamf Pro server we are managing our Macs with, and onboarding for one machine takes 1 hour and 15 minutes. So it was taking a very, very long time because they are installing each software with a simple policy each time. One software, one policy, and they were doing an inventory every time, and they sometimes reinstall the same software many times. So yeah, it was long. And so I worked on it, and I think it was 1 day later, I said, okay, now you install a machine in 15 minutes. And they say, no, it's not possible. I said, yes, see. And of course, if you optimize the process, you can make it way, way, way faster. And the force no recurrent, who knows about this option here? Not everyone. From people who know Jamf. Of course, Jamf people, you know it. Yeah. Call me surprised. In fact, this feature it's very nice. It's in the documentation, and I stumbled on it once, and I said, my God, it could help me a lot. It's nice because you can have the same policy that you call through self-service, and when you call it from self-service, it will run an inventory, but if you call it from a script and use the force no recon option, it will not run an inventory at the end. So you can just have a script with many different policies, and each time they will run, they will not do a they will not force inventory. And if you use setup manager, it does this. So it's way faster as well. So you don't have to manage many different policies for self-service and onboarding. You can have the same policy and use it only once. Allow concurrent downloads if possible. It's a bit tricky, but if you've got some large software to install, the problem with tools like Jump Pro is that it does installation, download, install, download, install, download, install. But while installing, it's not downloading, of course. So you can to trick something, you can use this trick to just say, okay, I'll download Office, because it's a large package, in the background, using just an ampersand at the end of the command line. It will run the background, and then it will install the software at the end. Can have some, it has to be tested. It worked for me to optimize some installation sometimes. Use cache servers and local distribution points if possible, of course, especially if you got low bandwidth. And avoid App Store apps. Of course, if you have VPP, it's the worst experience because it means the user has to accept to install the software and has his own iCloud account to set up the app. It's a nightmare to manage, so don't do it. And curiously, I found out that the App Store apps are not deploying that fast. So your mileage may vary, but be aware of this. Also, this one will please Alexandra. I don't know if she's there. No, she's not there. Check what is really installed. And this one is interesting because, oh, it's a printer driver, of course. Canon, LF-R2, LT, Lips, LX, whatever. And when I installed this printer driver, I noticed that the installer was taking as long to install this 50 megabytes, 64, 5 megabytes software. It was taking as long to install as a full Office suite, which sounded weird. So I used this software, we talked about it, and suspicious package. It's really hard to say, really. And I checked what was into this package, which was so weird and made it so slow to install. And so I had a look at the scripts, and I found out that there were 239 scripts running on the machine. How can you do this, you know? Because each time it was just checking, hey, do these folders exist in the system? And so, okay, I just created for folders. And it did for every printer driver, and there were 100 of them. So it was taking such a long time. And so I just extracted the package I wanted from the full package for the printer model I needed, and it just installed in 30 seconds, 20 seconds. So yeah, sometimes it's nice to have a look at what you install. And interesting about human psychology is that people don't like to wait. But they accept to wait if they know for how long they have to wait. Okay, they accept it a lot better. This is why you've got this signs into Disneyland saying, okay, you've got 30 minutes to wait for Space Mountain. And if you had no sign, it would be a nightmare, but as you got the sign, you know that, okay, I got 30 minutes, I know how long I have to wait. It's okay, I can live with it. So this is why we've got progress bars. And progress bars and dialogs help us to give feedback to the user about what happens. And by the way, do you know why the bars sometimes just stutter like this? It's just because you don't look them in 3D, which makes much more sense. And I love this illustration. It's so cool. Yeah, it's not me. I found it on the web, but yeah, okay, you get the idea. So we talked a lot about tools and this morning. This one, of course, swiftDialog should be in everyone's, you should use it. So swiftDialog basically allows you to create dialogs, but who's using it already? Yeah, quite a lot of people. So the other ones, you will use it. So but there is some feature which is not well known. It's about its command file. So the command file allows you to edit a dialog dynamically using a file. So you don't create dialog, quit the dialog, open the dialog, quit the dialog. You just send commands to the file, and this file will receive commands, and it will just update the dialog dynamically. So it can give visual feedback to the user on a set of steps, which is very, very powerful and very efficient if you want to give feedback. And it allows you to sequence the different steps. And I'll show you then why it's really useful. So you just launch a dialog into the background, and you specify a file, whatever the name you want it to be. In var tmp, yes, I think Alexandra would fight for this, but okay. And then you will just add commands into the file, so like title, hello world, and the icon, and the message, and it will change the dialog dynamically. And this is when we run into the live demo. Hadouken! Anyway, I can do this. So, I've got here 2 windows. Yeah, it's small, I know. I wonder if I can make it a bit larger. So basically, the first one is it's a really small script which just created a command file and say, okay, we'll run the dialog. And then I will launch another script which will send commands to this dialog. And you'll see what happens. So, important message, okay. And then we run. And you can do lots of stuff, interesting stuff. Okay, you can change the buttons, you can change the text, of course. You can use icons using the standard path. You've got lots of icons which are hidden in macOS into a system library, core services, core type bundle, but you can use like the bonjour icon, firewall icon, or this wonderful, brilliant, nice icon. Yeah, best icon ever. You can also use the SF symbol font, which is very powerful. Oh, nice. It changed my name, I don't know why. Okay. Thanks, bonjour, yeah, it's bonjour in action. So you can change the position of the dialog as well. Okay. Using the corners, and then you can have this, oh, okay, says that I'm not restarted for 15 days. Okay, think about restarting. Okay, it becomes a bit more aggressive. Okay, I guess it's stopping now. Okay, yes, I will start. Okay, oh, yes, there was a cake, but maybe it's a lie. Okay, maybe someone will have a reference. Okay, we will start to come down, but now.
Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Ballmer!
Remember that this guy was the boss of Microsoft. Yeah. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah, I know it's a bit scary to have still memory like this, but yeah. So, yep, you deserved it. You have to restart, you know. I wanted to talk about an experience we have with a company which I call Acme, because I'm not allowed to say their name. And they had no automated deployment in place, and we had to go. We wanted to push automated deployment, automated device environment, sorry, for them. So yeah, not their real name, and yeah. So they had no automated device environment. The machine's name was linked to the certificate, and the users always needed to be on site to prepare the Mac. And they had to go through an IT corner, get somebody to help them to do it. The IT corner had to prepare the machine and launch a script from self-service to create the user with the proper information. It was not a nice experience. So a lot of time lost in IT corner with people who didn't really know the Mac. A bit complicated. So we went fully automated. So the IT inputs the name in the database before deployment, local database, and we managed to make it sync with JamPro regularly. And so that when the Mac starts, you know the name, and when automated device environment, it changes the name automatically. So very easy setup. So the IT now, the technical support, they don't need to access the machine. And then we've got setup manager, which sets up everything. So perfect. After login, we've got a script which runs as root, of course, which is launched automatically. And it will display a dialog which will just display the current progression of different steps. And the user is guided only when its input is needed, okay? And all the user templates are filled with Word template, PowerPoint, whatever you use, Keynote, okay. And so, what does it look like?
Oh, you can!
Yeah, I know. Too many video game references. So, basically, when the user starts its Mac, it logs in, and then we will see this display, this login window, this window after login, I mean, which says your Mac is being prepared, and follow instruction of the screen to finalize the installation, and don't run Microsoft apps before you get invited. don't run Microsoft apps. That's it. And then there is this window which appears. It says your Mac is getting prepared. We're waiting for Wi-Fi, so we're just cycling, waiting for the Wi-Fi profile to get down. Okay, we're testing the network connection. And you see that the dialog, so it's dynamically displaying the information with SF symbol icons. So we're testing, so we are on the local network, so we are connecting to a local controller, so we have to perform Kerberos authentication. And so now the dialog says, okay, you have to authenticate and validate the password synchronization. And there is an interesting thing about this. It's not that easy. You'll see why. So synchronization, and it knows that authentication was done. Okay, it knows that there was authentication, and so it just configures, set up the printers. It will display a screen, it was a project which is on my GitHub, which will display video saying, okay, this is how you just set up authorization for screen recording. Okay, with 3 little videos which are displayed. And then it will set up display link, set up the doc, user information, so there are some LDAP communication, which is done to get information about the user, and then we're setting up Outlook. Yeah, privacy matters. Yeah, we believe you, Microsoft. Yeah, sure. And then the user account is set up, and that's it. Done. So this looks like a very complicated setup, but for them, I mean, it was a giant leap from the technical guy who has to do everything on the machine. And now the user can just get his machine, do it from home, from work, whatever they want. So way better experience. The funny thing is about the Kerberos ticket, which I had to think about it because it wasn't easy, because we wanted to know when the user got a Kerberos ticket. So our script was running into the root context, of course. It was a launch daemon, which was launched when we were logging on the machine, as soon as the machine is logged in, and the Finder is launched, and the doc is launched. But the issue is that the Kerberos TGT, ticket, is not accessible from the script. You can't, as root, say, okay, this user has got a TGT. It wasn't possible. I tried different solutions. Maybe I didn't find the right one, but it was difficult. So I had to think about it. And so this is the solution we found. We install another script with a launch agent, which will just check when the TGT is on the machine. So we're just running this command, klist grep principal, as long as the user has not logged in. And when he's logged in, well, he gets a TGT. And then the script creates a file, temporary file, in var tmp user.tgt. And the main script detects that the file is created, and then it can go on. So we have to be creative sometimes. But it worked really well, and yeah, it was a way better experience. And for screen recording authorization, it's the same thing. I had to think about how can I position the window on the left of the screen and the other window on the right. So for the right, it was easy. It was with dialog, could do it very easily. But for the left, for system preferences, how can I do it? So I thought, yeah, I can use an Apple script and use an Apple script to move the position of the window. Yes, but you know that if you use Apple script, it can be very complicated because of privacy, policy, controls. And I say, okay, easier way. I just write into the preferences the position I want. And it worked perfectly well. And if you want to open, a nice thing to know is that if you want to open system preferences, system settings, sorry, I'm too old. System settings to a specific position, you know, but the thing is it's still called system preferences, you know, in the settings. So you can just call for X Apple system preferences and say, okay, I want this specific pane to be displayed, and you can display exactly this pane. So way better experience for the user as well, because when you launch Teams or whatever software you're using for conferencing, authorization are already done. Perfect. For user onboarding, so session onboarding, should I say, we talked about Jam setup checklist, which is in beta, but looks very promising. And it was very funny to hear about Harmin this morning, who says, yeah, this guy he doesn't have too much sleep to do the stuff he does. When I see that what everything that Armin is doing these days on the Mac, and all the software is manages. So yeah, maybe a French food. I don't know. You got to see Dan Nelson, who did a lot of nice things with it's Set Up Your Mac, very nice script using swiftDialog, which you can use to perform nice onboarding experience as well. Select department, position for the user, whatever, and then install the software. And there is also a nice feature, which is that you can install only some software according to, okay, I want all the software, only some part of the software, or just a minimum. So yeah, it's very nice. The experience for the user goes beyond logging in and then setting up their Mac. Think also about the support tools you can install. So launch self-service just after login so that the user at the first time knows that the self-service options exist. And also you can use a tool like support app from the Root 3 team. Where are they? Hey guys, oh my. Ah. They deserve applause. The funny thing is that the bank company I talked about, they had a tool on Windows which was displaying the IP of the user, and they said, okay, we want a tool to display the user's IP and just a few settings, computer name. And I said, okay, we'll implement support app. And they said, I did it in a day, half day. And they say, oh, my God, it looks so way better on the Mac. Of course, yeah, we know. So yeah, great options for support and really, really easy to customize. Great tool. And last piece of advice, as I said, sometimes you have to take care of transparency and black backgrounds with icons. Sometimes it can look ugly, so just check if everything is all right. As I said, people notice small details. Look, my logo is not at the right size here. Think about testing dark mode. Sometimes people like dark mode. I don't like it on the Mac, I like it on my phone, but yeah, so test it. Because sometimes the things are ugly in dark mode, interestingly. You may also, yeah, I say beware of squircle. With squircle, you know, in macOS 26, we've got this square. The icon has to be into the square. And it looks really ugly, but you have to take care about this. And look at my icon, it's not nice here. So I have to take care about this. And as I said, sweet the details. Really, people notice the small thing. And I can say it because a few months ago, I did an experiment. And this is the logo of my self-service for my customers. We are a Jamf MSP. We manage about 400 Macs. And I say, hey, for special occasions, we might want to change the self-service icons. So we made them much nicer, you know. It's the stupid things, but people noticed. And they came back and said, oh, it's nice, it's cool. Yeah, they noticed the little things, and they like it. And on the Mac, we like the little Easter eggs. So put little Easter eggs. And as you know, a few weeks ago, so there was this picture which was taken from an iPhone in space. And of course, there is this quote from Arthur C. Clarke, which says, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. It's really nice because if you think about it, it's really great that Apple products, you can use them in space and you've got this magical experience, really, very magical experience. When you think that, yeah, Microsoft Outlook does not work in space, basically. But yeah, you can provide a great experience. You can create a magical experience. It just relies on technology, okay? So make the technology great, make it invisible, and your users will get a great magical experience. And I think the best thing to do today is now bring joy to the world. Thank you. Maybe a few questions, if there are some. Yep.
In your experience, what is the? We sometimes have problems with the onboarding UI opening whilst the user is still in Setup Assistant. There's like various different methods of it. Do you have a favorite one for making sure that that doesn't happen, or does Jamf Setup handle that for you?
Setup Manager did the job for me, mostly. At the time, we were using DOP Notifier, which ran into the session, user session. But as I said, big benefit of a tool like Setup Manager is that if you want to prepare a machine before giving it to the user, you can make the setup. If you use a tool like Jamf Connect, you can make the setup really straightforward for your IT guy. You just take the machine, put it on a workbench. You can also do it automatically with automated device environment and Ethernet setup, and so you can auto-advance. And so you can say, okay, we pre-install the software, and then the user has just to log into his machine using its IDP, using its identifiers, and that's it. And so for me, it's the best experience. It also means that if your user really needs this machine and set it up at home, he can do it. So you get both worlds, let's say.
As long as you use Jamf.
So both worlds. What happened? It fell apart. Stop dropping iPhones. Don't do that. Is it okay? Is it okay for you? Okay. Okay. Any other question? No?
Setup Manager doesn't.
Okay. So bring joy to the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.